Stacey Walker. I'm the Director of Housing Outreach, which is a part of our Affordable Lending and Access to Credit Department at Freddie Mac. And in my role, we are responsible for relationships with the hundreds of housing counseling agencies across the country. We also manage our Credit Smart Financial Capability curriculum. And we work with everyone pretty much except for the lenders, and we kind of co-work with realtors with our lender engagement team. I don't really have a fun fact. I really don't. Well, I guess my coworker, she helped me out this morning. I'm about to go on my 3rd Disney cruise Friday, and I am really happy about that. So I don't know if this is a fun fact for you all, but it's fun for me because that is a great experience.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Sandra Heidinger, and I am one of the Affordable Lending Managers at Freddie Mac, and I'm the lender engagement piece that Stacey was referring to. So what my role at Freddie Mac is to do the outreach and partner with our lender partners across the country, help create initiatives, strategies to help get into affordable lending and help them meet their CRA goals, as well helping meet our goals as well. We focus again with our lender partners, our real estate partners, and I do a lot of collaboration work with Stacey's team when we get the nonprofits involved, etc., and trying to, again, meet all of our goals while helping you as well. A fun fact for me, let's see, I'm a certified wino. I have a certificate to prove it. Seriously, I am trying to get my sommelier certification. I do have my level 1, so continue working from there.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Tomaneci. I'm the Director of the Supplier Diversity Program at Freddie Mac. Our role within our Supplier Diversity Office is to work with small businesses, diverse-owned businesses, and try to be a liaison for them with our internal decision makers in order to help them get more opportunities to do business with Freddie Mac. Our goals are centered around our sourcing efforts, our outreach efforts, as well as development. And I'm here today to talk a little bit more about the development aspect because it's a shift and a change in how corporations are approaching diversity and inclusion in the supply chain. And so I've been in this role at Freddie Mac for going on 7 years, but I've been in supplier diversity for the past 12 years. And I've seen it change and evolve, but I've also seen the strength and the change in the number of not only women-owned businesses, but minority and diverse-owned businesses throughout the nation. And so I'm really happy to be here today to share this information with you. My fun fact is, and let me qualify this, I made them do this. This fun fact.
That'll be really good.
And the reason why is because our new SVP over HR and DI, Jacqueline Welsh, she is big on like the personal touch and getting people to relate to people who are speaking to them about different topics. And so we're trying to make this a practice at Freddie, so she'll be proud of me to know that I got them to do this. But my fun fact is I love to vacation in the Keys. And this will be the 4th time that my husband and I have traveled to the Keys. And we basically go, we get a car, and we just hop from area to area and like completely turn into beach bums. But it was also the very first place that my husband ever took me when we were dating. And so it's just the best place, and I love going back there. All the memories kind of flood back when we're there. So that's my fun fact.
See, to be young and in love again. Okay, so we'll get started. So Stacey, let's start with you. So today, Freddie Mac recognizes the needs for continued consumer education and also tackling the needs of the underserved markets. Can you elaborate on our housing outreach and the Duty to Serve program efforts?
Sure. How many of you have heard of Duty to Serve? I can't really see, so I'm gonna act like it's everybody in the room. So, duty to serve is a regulation that's been on the books for quite a while because it's really buried in a larger legislation. And so Sharon was here yesterday from FHFA, which is our regulator. And so the director of FHFA decided to pull that piece of the regulation out and mandate both Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae to take a look at this, prepare a plan of how you're going to meet this duty to serve goal, the duty to serve goals, and we want you to start that in January of 2018. So we took a look at the goal, and what it's really doing is it is really mandating that we take a look at markets that we've never historically looked on purpose. And it's making us create strategies of how to meet the needs of the people who live in those areas, which is exciting. I've been at Freddie Mac for 26 years. I've been in the affordable space for 23 of those 26. And things just continue, they'll go around and it's cyclical, it'll come back around. But this is brand new because what this duty to serve mandate calls us to do is take a look at how we can improve what we're doing around manufactured housing, what we're doing in rural areas, and what we're doing in affordable preservation. And so we kind of dabbled in this stuff, if it comes our way, but it's nothing that we've taken a look at on purpose to try to change our policies and what we're doing. And when we look at rural areas, they specifically wanted us to take a look at areas of persistent poverty, which is defined as areas that have been impoverished for 30 or more years. So someone yesterday mentioned that 80% of the country is rural. I have found that out over the past 16 months because I've been traveling a lot to rural areas trying to figure out what needs to be done, what can we do as Freddie Mac to assist. And as you can imagine, those areas are not like your urban areas where there's a lot of infrastructure, a lot of lending partners there, a lot of realtor partners there. In many of these areas, it's still your payday, your brokers that are just doing unscrupulous business. And so we took all of 2017 to try to lay some groundwork to figure out a strategy. We started doing a lot of research, and because what we're doing a lot of this year into next year is research so that we don't make rash decisions, knowing that every area of the country is not like the other. So we have really been doing a lot of research, a lot of grassroots effort, a lot of talking to who's there, figuring out who wants to be there. And so Duty to Serve has really been eye-opening for us and really exciting for us too, because again, it is allowing us to do something different on purpose. And then you asked about our housing outreach. So I lead up that team in the Affordable Lending and Access to Credit Department. And a big part of what we are seeing is the need for, it was touched on in the previous panel, education. A lot of people that were impacted by the crisis are now ready to re-enter the home buying market, but they're nervous. They want to do it right. They want to be educated. And so we have had a lot of parties approach us about our financial literacy curriculum, Credit Smart. The resurgence of the importance of Credit Smart and financial literacy continues to increase. We have thousands of consumers going through our online every month, and it's upwards of 10,000 every month going online to get that education. We have also increased our training trainers. We train the industry on financial literacy on our curriculum so that they either just want to know it for themselves or they want to actually teach others financial literacy and financial capability. So we increased the number of times we do that to 3 times a year from 2. And we also this year will do our first train the trainer in Spanish. So that's very exciting. We've been asked about that. We've been asked about that a lot, and so we have really put the resources in to do our first one. I believe it's in October. We previewed it early this year at a conference. It was an overwhelming success. I sat in there. I don't speak 2 words of Spanish. I took Spanish in school, so I understand a little bit, but I sat through the entire class just to see the interaction and the reaction of the instructor and the participants, and it was very, very good, very positive. So we're going to move forward with that. And let me just say, if anyone is interested in any of our webinars that we have, they're all free of charge. You can go on FreddieMac.com/housingpros, PROS, and register for our Industry Professionals Resource Center, Housing Professionals Resource Center. And we also have a page for realtors, which is FreddieMac.com/real estate pros. Real estate pros. And so that's where all of our notices come from, any policy changes, anything that we feel is of importance to you as the industry, we put out through those websites. We talked in the previous panel, I think your name is Chitra? Yes. Chitra. Okay. And so you mentioned about the 46 million people who have either no credit or little credit. And so we've done a lot, we're beginning to do a lot of research around that, and we have found that there are about 42 million people out there with, we call it thin credit files. And so we're trying to now come up with strategies. Well, how do you reach those? That's who you need to be targeting right there. And so we've begun coming up with strategies with our industry partners on how we can reach those people, because a lot of those are women. And I will say, as I've traveled through rural areas and doing manufactured housing things, the retailers may be top heavy by men, but the majority of the people coming through there are women. And the top number of people coming through our financial education programs are women. We've recently been approached by MANA, it's called MANA, a Latina organization out of Washington, D.C., and WISER, which is a women's organization out of Washington, D.C., that focuses on secured retirement for women. And they came to us because they're seeing an increase in the number of women approaching retirement age who don't have any money to retire. And so they want to educate them on how to budget their retirement funds so that it will last them when they enter into retirement. So that's another testimonial of how these women are heavily impacted with financial issues right now. So I'm going to stop. I think my time is up, but if anybody has any questions at the end, I'm happy to field any.
Great. Thank you. All right, so Sandra, we'll move to you. Today, Freddie Mac continues to explore new products and support affordable housing and access to credit. Could you please tell us about some of these innovations?
Certainly. So, I love the theme of the ecosystem because, we are not alone here, right? And Freddie Mac cannot create a product in a bubble. So we reach out to our ecosystem. We work very closely with our trade associations across the country, such as our realtor trade associations, such as NAWRB, ARIA, NAWRB, NAWRB. All of the real estate professional organizations across the country, our lender partners across the country, the nonprofits across the country, because you know what? You guys, all of these groups are the ones that have their ear to the ground and know what the needs are in the various communities. So with that, we take that information and we develop product, programs, etc. to be able to offer in this affordable lending space. We do a lot of test and learns with some customers as well to see what may work. doing it on a smaller scale before we try to roll out on the bigger scale. So that said, some of the product offerings that we do have in our affordable space is our Home Possible product offering. How many in the room have heard about our Home Possible? Awesome, awesome. I'm gonna pretend like Stacey and everybody's heard that. Our Home Possible. But it is a great product offering in this affordable space. It is our low down payment mortgage, so curiosity question, especially the realtors in the room, but I would like to, for all of you, one of the biggest obstacles people we hear talking about is I don't have enough money to get in, right? So I cannot tell you, what do people tell you that, let me ask you, what do people tell you how much money that they need to get into a house? 20 to 30%. I hear that all the time. What if I tell you we've got a product offering that can help that borrower get in a home with as little as 3% down? Absolutely. Absolutely. 3% down. And that is phenomenal. Now, everybody, a lot of times when they think about either a first-time home buyer or a minority borrower, low-to-mod borrower, I gotta go FHA. Right? I'm sorry, I get a little animated here. I gotta go FHA. Well, FHA is not, and I'm not here to bash FHA. FHA is a good loan. But what if you can get your client into a home with as little as 3% down? You're saving them money to be able to get in because with FHA, you've got that 1.75 MIP mortgage insurance premium that's got to be on there. And how long is it going to be on there? Forever and ever, amen. Right? So with this, you have the mortgage insurance on it, but once it amortizes naturally down to a 78%, it's automatically going to drop off. But if the borrower is in a market where the prices are appreciating, they can always call their servicer about having it eliminated sooner than that. So just some great benefits on that as well. Now the product is income delineated at 100% of area median income. But I want to tell a story here a quick second. One of my customers I was out with doing some training, it was a large customer. Out doing some training with, and this guy rarely will raise his hand to say anything. And I'm like, okay, he must have something good to say. Come on. Talking about comparing FHA versus Home Possible, because we are trying to change that conversation. He's like, you know what we did? We took our servicing portfolio and we took all of our FHA loans that we had in our servicing portfolio and we analyzed those to see just how many of those borrowers could have gotten into a better product offering, your Home Possible. Care to guess what that number was? What percentage of it could have gone?
Over 50.
Over 50, okay. 100%, okay. 75? Close? Close? 70%. 70% of those likely could have gone Home Possible. I about fell out when he said that. So again, it's just changing that conversation, and that's part of what I do and my team when we're out with the lenders and we're out with talking to our real estate professionals to say, hey, consider this. It is a great option for the borrower. It's going to be cheaper. It's going to have cheaper mortgage insurance as well for them to be able to get in, and it can be canceled. And they can use down payment assistance. There's tons of down payment assistance that borrowers can reach out to use to get into their homes as well. Now, we also, let's say you've got a borrower maybe where their income does exceed the 100% of AMI, of area median income. We've just rolled out a product that hit the market yesterday, or July 29th. There we go. You're at home one. So for those borrowers where their income is over, they can still get a 97% loan as a first-time home buyer and still use 97% loan to get in. So another great option is no income restriction, no geographic restriction. for that borrower to get in, and it is available today. So, I'm sorry? Home 1, like home and then the number, O-N-E, 1. How do you spell 1? Sorry, I hadn't had enough coffee. Sorry about that. But it has to go through our loan product advisor to get accept, and you are golden. So, I'm trying to think, is there anything? I've probably run out of time too. I'm sorry, I can talk all day about this. So, but that's, that's why we do work with our lender partners, because we do want that engagement, and we do want the best product out there so that the borrowers get the benefit of these product offerings to be able to get into these homes.
Yeah. Okay, great. So let's move on then to Tomaneci. So Tomaneci, today, Freddie Mac supplier diversity programs really focuses on diverse vendor development, especially women-owned businesses in the real estate industry. What are 3 key takeaways for expanding opportunities in this evolving market?
Okay, so I don't have 3, but I have 2. 2 key takeaways that I can share with you, and I'm going to get on my soapbox a little bit because a lot of what has been said over the last 2 days I'm going to reemphasize. It's not enough, and I'm speaking to all of you as either entrepreneurs, business owners, future business owners, or even if you know somebody within a business who's thinking about starting a small business. It's not enough for you to understand your business. You have to understand the market. You have to understand the market on the local level, or regional level, and the national level. The panel that was just up here talking about the data, talking about the market, industry, and the information that's out there and available for you, that knowing that information is key to the success of your business. Yesterday when we were here and I was listening in on some of the panels, questions were being asked. How many people in here know about this product? How many people understand or have heard about this particular initiative or this effort that's going on right now within your market? And there were little hands, like very few hands going up in the air. Everyone's hands should be up. Like this should be the information that you live and breathe. So you have to take the time to seek out this information. Stacey mentioned FreddieMac.com. FreddieMac.com is a great resource for you. Every week there is on our economic page, we publish findings on the market, on the housing marketplace. We publish links to information that lead to economic impact studies on the millennial groups, the 30+ groups, what women are doing, what policy changes are happening. So this is like a key resource for you as a business owner or a future entrepreneur to get into and really kind of take a deep dive in the information that's out there and available that's going to drive your business. These are key factors that you have to know what's next in the marketplace. You have to really understand why corporations like Freddie Mac are establishing programs and initiatives around duty to serve, if they're leading in this marketplace and they decide to take a shift and they're focusing on a specific area, you should take a deep dive into why they're making that shift and you focus in on that area as well. Because what that will lead you to is becoming a trusted advisor for your clients. And that's really what the customer and the consumers are looking for. You got to think of it beyond the fact of you, whether or not you can sell or buy or whatever with their home. They want to know that key information. And I think Teresa, who was up here earlier, hit the nail on the hammer. Like, that's your new role. It's an added value for you to be able to provide them with that nugget of information that they don't have time to sit there and look all this information up. But if you can provide that information to them, not only will they appreciate it, but they're going to tell somebody else, I know who you can talk to in order to get some insight and some direction. And that's really what your role is going to evolve in. And so I implore you to dig deep into the research. This information, I'm holding upside down. This information and the information that's shared within these documents is a treasure for you. And you should seek more information out on a regular basis. It should be your goal daily to find some new information and some new data to support the initiatives that you're doing. Because the REO space, and I've been told by a number of people at Freddie Mac, it's not the same as it was 10 years ago, of course, right? I can vouch! It's definitely not going to be the same 10 years from now, okay? So you have to make the moves and the decisions to set yourself up for the change and follow the lead of some of these larger organizations when they make these shifts, okay? So one, definitely take a deep dive into the housing market and figure out what's next, what's new, and move forward from there. So that leads me to the second piece of advice that I'd like for you to consider. And I share this with a lot of the businesses in any industry that I work with, any industry, any small business that's seeking to do business with Freddie Mac. I tell them that you have to evolve with the market. And some of you that were here last year have heard me speak on this. I'm a big proponent for development, taking really good, solid vendors and making them better, figuring out where their next move is going to be. You have to develop multiple, I think Teresa mentioned this, multiple streams of income. You just have to. It's the direction in which most businesses are taking. You have the disruptors, which was earlier, right? Everybody talks about, everybody's continuously talking about disruption in the marketplace. People are coming in seeking new and innovative ways that their customers can get to the market faster, can look at the process differently. How are you doing that? How are you even taking the time to consider making those levels of change? What's needed? What's out there that can be improved? What partnerships can I seek out in order to make my business better? We encourage partnerships, strategic alliances. I overheard a conversation yesterday over lunch. Somebody had mentioned that they had partnered with a property preservation and property maintenance management company in order to do new business. That's brilliant, because you need to figure out, okay, what else? What is my second added value that I'm giving to a consumer besides me being able to sell their home? You know, they talk about how multifamily and the rental space is going to be the next housing boom. How are you making that shift? Are you thinking about that now? You know, are you researching what's going on in the multifamily space in order for you to key in and look for other small businesses, other women-owned businesses that you can partner up with in order to tackle this issue and this problem with affordable rental space? I mean, if that's the new challenge, if that's the new issue, you know, affordability in order to rent, how are you solving for that? If you can solve for that, that's your next play, that's your next move. You have to think about, somebody mentioned construction and rehab, renovation, partnering with construction companies to work on some of these older houses, stepping into a different region or a different area, making partnerships throughout the United States. These are the things that you're going to have to do in order to evolve and stay current with the market. Because if you don't evolve, you are going to not matter. If you can't change with the times, if you can't figure out that next step and that next level of innovation for your company, the thing that you decided to get into with all of your passion, it won't matter. None of your hard work will matter if you can't evolve and change along with the market. So I reemphasize everything that's been going on over these last two days. Market data, research, taking a second to step away from the day-to-day business to work on your business. You have to. You have to take advantage of resources that are readily available for Freddie Mac, and we provide it for you. Seek it, go after it, ask those questions, and make that level of change. Because that's where the future is going to be heading. So take advantage of those resources and you know, again, I can get on this box. I'm trying to hold myself to sit in the seat because I want.
About it. But we have presented our findings a couple of times in front of, the first time was in front of a mostly housing counseling agency group. Another time we presented in front of the National Industry Standards on Homeownership Education. We just presented it via webinar to another large group of housing counseling agencies because we really want to get them to understand, don't spend your time over here trying to reach out to people who are mortgage ready. They're mortgage ready. They're not going to come into you for 12 months of homebuyer education. You have 42 million people here, and here's where we feel they are across the country. What can we do to strategize on how do you reach those people? And again, a lot of them are in rural areas. How do you reach those people? A lot of people, what we found in, we've spent a lot of time in the Appalachia, Kentucky, and the Mississippi Delta. The issues are incredibly different, but a lot alike too. And so what do you do to reach people in these rural areas who don't have transportation? They don't have jobs, you know, and so we have been forming partnerships with providers of job placement. We have opened up and expanded our reach into churches, and we have hubs for information where we're partnering with those that can do workshops on education, because we really truly feel that if we can get our tentacles far enough out in these areas, we can definitely impact those thin files. But we started doing that before we had the concrete data to support our work. And so now that we do, we're trying to educate the industry on this is an issue, this is where you need to pivot your attention to and try to reach out. So let's work together to do that.
Okay, well, if there's not any other questions, then again, we just wanted to reinforce that there's a lot of free information out there on FreddieMac.com. Please go out there, take note. There is just so much out there that it is hard to share just in one conversation up here. But utilize that, use that as a tool, as Tomaneci said. Continued improvement, continue to add value to your clients, your customers, and again, it's all free. And as Stacey mentioned, our Credit Smart training is an excellent program. It tells you, you know, the basic things on, you know, financial literacy, and it's free, and it's out there and available to you. So make sure that you avail yourself of those resources.
Can I just say one thing about Credit Smart? We are, Credit Smart is about 18 years old, and we are in the process of not only updating the content, but updating the platform on which it sits, because currently it is not as mobile friendly as we would like. Well, it's not mobile friendly at all, but it's not as compatible with as many browsers as we would like. Now, I know y'all think I'm a millennial. I'm not. Okay? So I have millennials on my team, and they just find great joy in telling me about all this technology stuff that I have no clue about, right? You too, Mother?
Yeah, I just wanted to let you know that even Credit Smart, if you go into this form, one of the housing agencies I've visited recently in California carries a big notebook around with all the Credit Smart, I mean, dog-eared, simple numbers. So I know it's been updated, but still you can get it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you very much. We are making it more mobile friendly and better used on different browsers, and so we're in the process of doing that right now. And then the content revision, we're hoping that that will be done by the middle of 2019. It is available in 5 languages. I forgot to mention that. So I mentioned English and Spanish. It's also available in Vietnamese, Korean, and Chinese. And once we overhaul Credit Smart and get it back out into the industry, we're going to look at additional languages.
So thank you very much. We appreciate the chance to be here.